What up though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I get these 10,000 steps in this morning. Midtown Detroit. I came across a spot that's pretty interesting. There's a comic book store behind me. It's called Vault of Midnight. I don't see too many comic book shops anymore. This one seems to be doing okay. It's got a lot of cool stuff in there. It's got plushies and whatnot. So it looks like they might have diversified enough to where they've been able to keep themselves afloat. You can see on the side of the building, it's got this mural. That portrait there is of a artist from Detroit, Dwayne McDuffie. So we're going to talk about exes. We're going to talk about exes and if you should take an ex back or not. And we go around here to the back. I actually have a seat over here and kick it with y'all for a second. There's some chairs and tables over here. These are like the go-to. These are like the go-to chairs, man. I swear. When you go somewhere and they've kind of have a outdoor spot to sit, it's seemingly always these types. All right, so let's talk exes. For one, I'm not going to say I've never taken an ex back because I have. So I'm not going to say that you should never take an ex back. What I will say is that in most cases, you probably should. Now, I've seen situations and circumstances where they broke up. They shouldn't have broke up. They broke up over stupid stuff. They were both kind of immature. You know, they let something really stupid drive a wedge between them. They broke up. They ran into each other a few years later. They're both more mature. They've had a couple, you know, goofy relationships since they last seen each other and realized, you know, this out here in these streets ain't it. So they're gonna get back together and they'll usually be fine for it. So that's one circumstance of where, you know, you might be able to go back, spin the block. A circumstance that I absolutely don't recommend you spin the block, though, is if they left you for someone else. If you're a guy or a gal that was in a relationship and they left you for someone else, don't take them back if they try to spin the block, because they thought the other person was a better option than you, and you must remember that. And when it stung back then, let it sting now. Remind yourself that they left you for a person who they perceived was a better option, was an upgrade. And if that would have worked out, if that situation would have panned out, they still would be gone. They're only coming back to you because that didn't work out. And so they're trying to come back to you because you're now the best option again. So I do not recommend getting back with an ex under those circumstances. So I think those are two pretty solid examples of what to do and not to do when it comes to exes. So first example again, if the two of you were just too immature, you broke up over some stupid stuff, you know, and there's all types of examples that I could give, but I think this one, I think, is the most relatable. You know, if two of you broke up over something really stupid, you two were just very immature, you were bickering over goofy stuff because of your immaturity, nothing major ever happened. You guys were just immature. You weren't ready for the type of relationship that you were trying to have or were pretending to have. Y'all broke up. Y'all went y'all separate ways. You had a relationship or two while, you know, you were apart. Those relationships kind of matured you. You realize that person wasn't so bad after all. This person is terrible. That person is terrible. These relationships I've had since them, they suck. I was too stupid to realize this. And, you know, okay, sure. You guys meet up, you have a conversation, but you both must be on the same page with this. We broke up over a stupid reason. We were so immature. You know, it wasn't one leaving the other over somebody else. Cool. But if they left you for somebody else, let them go. Never take them back, because they did this to you once, they'll do it to you again. What makes you think that them leaving you once for what they perceive to be an upgrade, they won't turn around and do that very same thing again if they happen to come across someone else that they also perceive as an upgrade from you? They likely will do that again. So don't even do that to yourself. Don't put yourself in that situation to be hurt like that all over again. People tend to do that. They think that they can just leave your life in shambles and then years later just come back, and you're just supposed to be waiting for them. You know, the same torch you were carrying for them is still there. You know, they could just leave and then pop back into your life again as if nothing ever happened. And you definitely don't want to allow that, you know. So as I said, I think this is another one of those case-by-case situations, because relationships, they're very complicated. They have many layers to them. So you have to take these things into consideration. The examples I gave are pretty general, and people's lives and circumstances, they can be very complex. So apply your own, you know, quirks, pros and cons to these general examples that I gave and make a judgment from there. But I don't think that in most cases getting back with an ex works out. It does work out, but I think more often than not it doesn't work out, because usually whatever y'all broke up over, I think largely will still be an issue when you get back together. You know, whatever behaviors that they exuded that were deal breakers, they'll kind of still be in place when you get back together. People can be a bit of a chameleon. They can kind of pretend they're different now. Oh, things are different now. I'm not the same person. I've grown. And in some cases that may be true, but in many cases it's not. A zebra doesn't change its stripes, as they say. And that's pretty black and white, no pun intended. But I think in most cases, that is it. Now, people do change. People grow, people change, people evolve. But the person has to want that. They have to acknowledge in themselves that they need to mature. They need to do better. They've not been as great of a person as they could be, and they just overall need to be better. So it does happen. But as I said, it's case by case, man. You know your situation better than anyone else does. So if you have an ex that's popping up into your life, you still kind of like them, I don't know about getting right back into a relationship with them. But, you know, it's no harm in hanging out, depending on what your status is. If you're already in a relationship at this point, you can't entertain any of their contact. You got to shut that down. But if you're not in a relationship at the time, you know, I guess there's no harm in hanging out a few times, talking on the phone a few times, and seeing what's up. And they'll reveal themselves, you know, whether they've truly changed or not. That will definitely become apparent after you've had a few conversations, a few hangouts. You know, you've been intimate with them a few times. Is oftentimes, you know, it's going to happen. It's easier to be intimate with with an ex than a new person, because you already know them. You're very familiar with them. You know what they like. They know what you like. And if there's still a high level of attraction there, then, you know, you guys are going to do intimate things much sooner rather than later. So apply these things as you may to your own situation, and make a decision based on that, man. This is one of them complicated ones, I know. But I appreciate y'all connecting with me. I'm about to get back to doing my walk. I just thought that for this one to like really hit home, I needed to sit down and talk to y'all, man. Y'all know I usually walk 90% of the videos. I'll sit down momentarily here and there, but I'm usually up walking. But I thought this was one of those topics that it'd be better if I just sit down and talk to y'all about it. So appreciate y'all connecting with me, man. Like this video, give me that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.